And then in 1868, there's a major turning point in Japanese history called the Meiji Restoration. What happens is that Emperor Meiji comes to power, and he is a brilliant emperor, a brilliant political leader who really wants to modernize Japan. He looks honestly at the outside world, and he sees that the West has gotten far more advanced technologically and socially, and he realizes that Japan has fallen behind. So what he does is he brings in modern technology from the West. He learns from all the academic sources from the West. He modernizes the government. He establishes a democratically elected parliament. He writes a constitution. And one of his reforms that he does in 1895 is he allows religious freedom. So in 1895, Christians are able to come out of the shadows. And there were counted 100,000 Christians in Nagasaki. This is after 300 years of persecution. If there's that many Christians still there after almost 300 years of persecution, imagine how many there could have been before the persecution. It really shows, even though from the shogun's perspective, they had completely wiped out, they thought they had completely wiped out Christianity. The reality was it was really growing behind the scenes. And then what happens, of course, is World War II. This is a terrible time for Christians in Japan, for everyone. During this time, a lot of the great reforms Emperor Meiji had done to make Japan a world power are undone. There's tyranny instead of democracy. Shinto is established as a state religion. People are forced to worship the emperor. But Christians hold fast to their faith. And unfortunately, Nagasaki, being one of the cities where Christianity was most rooted in Japan, is also one of the cities chosen for the atomic bombing. And on August 9th, 1945, the U.S. drops an atomic bomb in the Urakami district of Nagasaki, which was the most Christian district, almost 100% Christian. And it lands just 500 meters from the Urakami Cathedral, killing 70,000 people. And this was a major blow to Christianity in Japan. Really terrible history. Moving forward to today, Japan has total religious freedom. It's a modern democratic country, but only about 1% of Japanese are Christian. Most are atheist or agnostic. And the reality is there's very few missionaries in Japan. When we think about missions, we often think about Africa, different third world countries. We don't often think about a really prosperous modern country like Japan, but the reality is there's a great need for evangelism there. Many Japanese have never really heard the gospel, and many of the missionaries that are there are not being very effective because there's cultural and language barriers. So we really need a modern-day Francis Xavier who's going to rise up and take Christianity to Japan and learn the language and be that missionary for Japan, because there's a great need, and there's also a great opportunity because there is religious freedom and there is the freedom to preach. This is really a mission field that deserves more attention.